Let's break out the whiteboards and draw the line. Danny, we'll start with you. Where would you draw the line on a contract for Pete Alonso?
Okay, here's my board. Let me hold it up for you. I have 6 years, not more than, oh, it's over here, backwards, 6 years and $25 million for the average annual value. That would be $150 million. So obviously that's higher than I would be willing to give him, but I'm absolutely not giving him more than this. I think his best offer is in the rearview mirror at this point. I think it's bad news that David Stearns is a part of this front office because before the 7 years, that looks pretty good right now. In my eyes, 6 years because he's been with this organization. And if you look at what Matt Olson got and what Freddie Freeman got, I put him in between those two. I do think he's valuable. He's one of the best power hitting first basemen in the league. In fact, he has the most home runs in the last 4 years among all first basemen. And so I do think he deserves the money, but I'm not going to give him more than this because not only is he going to phase out and become a DH full time, I have other options internally that I can go with. And so it's all to me in David Stearns' hands. The Mets have all the power in this situation. And I think what's tough for Pete is that he had a better offer. He had more years and he opted to not only turn that down, but then hire Scott Boras.
Yeah, I do think if Pete got that deal, he would have a smiley face. All right, JJ, what do you got?
So I'm looking at this a little differently. Unfortunately, I do not have a smiley face for my whiteboard. Instead, I have a whole lot of sloppy handwriting. My criteria is I'm not giving Pete Alonso more than 4 years. Danny mentioned the age. I am not going to have Pete Alonso under contract when in 3 or 4 years I think he profiles as someone that is going to be a DH on the books for the New York Mets, especially when you consider the fact that in 4 or 5 years, we might be talking about Juan Soto making the transition from being an outfielder to a full-time DH. I'm not concerned about money. You notice here, I did not put a financial amount. These are the Steve Cohen Mets. I don't think it matters from a financial standpoint if Pete's getting 25 a year, 30 a year, 32 a year. That is not my concern. My concern is I am not going to be tied in long term to two guys who are going to end up being DHs. So at 4 years, I'm cool with it. I am A-okay if Pete Alonso wants to get 27 a year at 4, done. 30 a year at 4, done. I'm not going beyond 4 years.
This is great, JJ. We didn't discuss this before the show, but you and I are exact opposites here. I did not put a year total on there because I don't care about the years. Years don't matter. $140 million total max for Pete Alonso. The reason you mentioned, I understand what Steve Cohen has endless money, whatever, it shouldn't really matter. But to me, it's not about the length of the deal. It's about how much you're spending total. Okay, so what if it's 5 or 6 years for $140 million? To me, that's the same thing. It's actually even better for the Mets than paying the 30 million a year for 3 years, which gets you to 90. Tack on another one, so you'd be at 4 for 120. I'd rather just give him another 20 million, lower the AAV, and have him long term, and you could move him to DH. So for me, it's the years that don't matter versus the money. I think the total amount is what matters here for Pete. He made a bad mistake turning down that deal a couple of years ago. I am not going beyond what that offer was, and 140 would be the absolute max total, however many years you want to slice it up.